Hi everyone, welcome back to Town City State. In this video, we'll be counting down what I believe to be the top 10 most overrated California cities. And coming in at number 10 is Malibu. You've heard about it, you've seen it glamorized on TV, but if you've ever been there, you know just how little it lives up to the hype. Look, is Malibu a beautiful place? Well, yes, mostly. I'd characterize it more as a decent place with a good, if not outrageously expensive dining scene. Is it jam-packed with fun, exciting things to do, clean, expansive, luxurious beaches packed with communal spaces where you're free to enjoy and explore some of the most beautiful landscapes on Earth? I mean, kinda. It's number 10 on the list, so it's not wildly overrated, but I feel like Malibu is made out to be this holy land of exclusivity, perfection, and world-class living and shopping, when in reality, it's not all it's cracked up to be. First off, Highway 1 is one of the most dangerous roads to drive on, not only for drivers, but for pedestrians as well. And unfortunately, every month it seems like someone has lost their life trying to cross this Monaco Grand Prix of a street. And unfortunately, more times than not, it's a student from the nearby Pepperdine University. Historically, Malibu has been incredibly car-centric, but in recent years, Malibu has improved with the ever-expanding Malibu Colony, providing residents and visitors with an actual place to convene, shop, dine, and walk around. It's a great place, but has no density or apartments. And what's with all this street-level parking? Prime real estate yet again used for cars. At least it's not a sea of concrete. It's more like a small lake. A step in the right direction, at least. Okay. On to number 9. It's the city of Huntington Beach. A common theme that you'll start to see as we move along with this list is that most of these cities are, in my eyes, tourist traps. And at number 9, Huntington Beach is no exception. It's where middle-class families from across the nation flock to when San Diego is too expensive, the kids are too young for Los Angeles, and Disney is overbooked. I mean, the city does at least have one thing going for it: the beach. I mean, it's in its name, but it's not like you'll be able to go in the year-round freezing cold waters, not without a wetsuit anyway. I just don't get why out-of-towners are so enthralled with Huntington Beach as a vacation destination. Could it be the dazzling Main Street, complete with BJ's Brewhouse, Rocky Mountain Chocolate Factory, IHOP, and Cold Stone Creamery? Maybe. I mean, it's not just anywhere that you can find an IHOP and a BJ's. I'm getting off track because my disdain for cities that don't even bother trying is at an all-time high. Pacific City Mall is nice enough, but pretty vacant as far as oceanfront outdoor malls go. It's not nearly enough to justify why Huntington Beach is so popular. I've never had a great meal here, and given just how many restaurants there are, that's saying something. It's too bad most of them are chains, unauthentic Mexican food, gimmicky funnel cake shops, and pubs. Ah yes, the beloved tourist trap pub. Every single tourist trap has at least one, and nothing makes me feel more like I'm on a California beachfront vacation like an Irish lager. Seriously, why is this place on everyone's bucket list? I finally visited a couple months ago, and I'm sorry to say I don't get the hype. Ripping ahead to another tourist trap at number 8, and yeah, this one is going to be super popular or super unpopular, but it's Solvang. Yeah, you knew Solvang would be on this list, didn't you? Now, I'm not denying at all that we're taking away from the very real Danish history of the city. But with that being said, I believe the majority of the city's authenticity dried up long, long ago. Are there pockets of real, tangible history? Sure, but to say this is Denmark in America is a huge stretch. It needs more bike infrastructure, wider sidewalks, and more light rail to fit that description. This is a city in America that looks like it thinks it knows what Copenhagen looks like, but it's anything but a real feeling. I mean, most of the buildings downtown were built way after its settlement, and it definitely shows. There are a few hidden gems in this city, however, but overall, the city is highly overrated for what it is. I would say it is worth going to at least once if you live in California or close by, just to say that you've been there. Coming in at number 7, it's Oceanside, California. Remember in high school when your friend was bragging about going to San Diego on spring break, when all you got up to was playing video games in the snow? Yeah, well, don't fret. Your friend just went to Oceanside, which is in San Diego County, just barely, but strays very far away from America's finest city in many ways. Oceanside is just about the most meh coastal city in California in my opinion, but for some reason, there are so many hotels and resorts here. Of course, the weather is a big factor of why people like coming here, but the same argument that I made against Huntington Beach is relevant here as well. Why not just go to San Diego instead? Heck, even Laguna Beach at least has some sort of culture and activity cities, and the scenery there is much better than Oceanside or Huntington Beach. There just isn't much of anything to do here. There's also just so much prime real estate taken up by parking structures and parking lots, which is huge points off. And Oceanside has great potential too. You can slowly see the dense urban living creeping up in different pockets throughout the city. If they could incentivize new, modern, urban development and add local businesses to occupy ground floors, it could be a real great city, especially for young and up-and-coming talent, the likes that San Diego attracts. But there's a lot of work that needs to be done. Roads need to be slimmed down, light rail should absolutely be built and prioritized, and I could see it becoming something similar to Tempe. The location is unbeatable, but if the city wants to move from overrated to underrated, it needs to at least act like it cares about the living styles of the new generation of young professionals. Coming in at number 6, it's the city of Glendale. Now, I like Glendale. At times. Those times are most certainly not when I have to wait in a line of 20 cars for a parking spot at the Galleria, or pay $8 for an hour of parking at the Americana. What I like about Glendale most is actually the urbanization, mostly happening around North Central and North Brand Avenues. A ton of new apartments and restaurants, and the walkability is pretty good overall from the Americana and North. And with every new apartment building popping up and old Burger King being torn down, the pedestrian friendliness of Glendale only gets better and better. Driving in Glendale is another story I won't get into too much, but I'll just mention that in 2014, it had the highest car insurance rates in the state of California. It's just a dangerous place to drive. Lots of aggression, maybe because the residents of Glendale are devoid of any green spaces just about anywhere in or around downtown. The thing that I think makes Glendale so overrated is just the amount of missed potential. If I were to make changes to make Glendale underrated rather than overrated, it would start by bulldozing the Glendale Galleria. It was redundant from the moment the Americana broke ground, and it might just be one of the worst shopping experiences in the nation. Add a sprawling green space instead, like a central park. This is a place where the parking garage is bigger than the mall itself. Glendale has so many craftsman buildings built way back in the 30s and 40s and even 50s that are just sitting there empty, waiting for tenants, or are overall just decrepit. I'd like to see Glendale lean into adaptive reuse. Not many neighborhoods or cities in LA County have kept their neon and retro feel to them, but Glendale is desperately hanging on, bolstered by its own Museum of Neon Art, one of the best attractions in the city, let alone the county. If they could just refocus and redevelop and put urbanist initiatives first, they'd be a heck of a city. But for now, the driving mess, the empty beautiful buildings, and the Americana make Glendale overrated and overrun at the present moment. I'm here to say that millennials' favorite SoCal wine city, Ojai, is one of the most overrated places to visit in California, and it's number 5 on this list. All I have to say here is, why are you coming here for your wine tasting excursion? If you're in NorCal, just go to Napa, and if you're in SoCal, just go to Temecula. And if you're in the Central Valley or Central Coast, go to Paso Robles. Ojai is just so boring, and making the trek out here from anywhere that's not Ventura or Santa Barbara County is just not worth it. Yet so many people hype up Ojai like it's some sort of magical town. I'm not saying the whole town is bad or anything. There are a few places and restaurants to check out if you feel so inclined, but every time I make the trek from LA County, all I can think is, wow, I made that drive just for this? It's a fine, small town, but very, very overrated. The 4th most overrated city in California is probably my hottest take in this video, and that's Sonoma, California. Look, I've been here twice, and both times I visited Napa first and then drove 20 minutes west to Sonoma, wishing I had just saved the gas money. There's no doubt that the city is historically significant in Spanish and US California history. Much of the architecture within the town square is well preserved and honestly quite beautiful. But as for what there is to do and see in the city, it's very overrated. And honestly, I'm always surprised with how many people flock to Sonoma year-round. Weather, of course, plays a part, but in my view, the only real thing to do here is drink wine. There's little to no shopping, outdoor activities, or worthwhile attractions, especially within that gridlock of a town square. For wine tasting, I'm sure, again, like Ojai, it's fine. I mean, I'm always going to hold the belief that Napa is all around one of the best cities in California, including for wining and dining. Check out my top 10 California California cities video for my other favorites. Sonoma is too overcrowded for locals, a pain to get a table just about anywhere in peak season, and just doesn't have much to offer. I get the appeal to some people, but at the same time, it's just way overrated. Monterey, California rounds out the top 3, and I'll go ahead and say it bluntly. Monterey, California is an overrated, mostly run-down tourist trap of a California city, in my opinion. I have no idea why people have such an idealistic infatuation with the city of Monterey. Carmel I mostly understand, but there is just about no reason why the city is so highly rated. The Monterey Bay Aquarium is just about the only thing the city has going for it, and it's kind of funny that half of the building isn't even within the city borders, as you can see here on Google Maps. There's no real walkable downtown with historic buildings and artisan local shopping like you would expect from such an overhyped city. The Fisherman's Wharf area is just a smaller version of the one in San Francisco, which is just about my least favorite place in that city as well. And overall, the city is just disappointing. It is so much potential too, but it's wasted. I will forever be dumbfounded with the amount of wealthy people who choose to live in Monterey and, for that matter, vacation there like it's the West Coast Fort Lauderdale or something. Monterey is extremely overrated, and just go to Carmel instead. At number 2, we have Palm Springs. Palm Springs is very, very overrated. Half of the year, it's a 110-degree desert, and the other half, it's a trashy millennial playground. Of course, this is an oversimplification, but everything about Palm Springs is just, I don't know, wrong? The amount of land used for golf courses and resorts within Coachella Valley is abhorrent. Honestly, where do the regular people even live? The ones supporting all of these supposedly high-class and fancy establishments that are definitely getting paid near minimum wage. There's like zero new development, urbanization, densification, or light rail network anywhere to be seen in the city. Downtown Palm Springs is an ugly hodgepodge of cheaply built, dilapidated buildings filled with touristy gimmicks with parking lots galore and a Strode running right through it. Honestly, if it weren't for our number 1 pick, this would be it, because it's so overrated. And on top of all that, there's nothing to do. For a place as famous and overhyped as Palm Springs is, you'd expect there to be stuff to do, actually. Places to check out, walk around, things to discover, and good food. But, no. If the Google top sites of your city include a casino, a visitor center, or a walk of fame, you failed as a city. Palm Springs is a waste of potential in my opinion. It sucks to get there by car, and it really doesn't help that the Amtrak station is literally in the middle of nowhere, miles north of downtown, next to absolutely nothing. This place just infuriates me. What's the draw? I don't get it. Enlighten me down in the comment section, please. And we finally arrived at the mecca of overrated California cities. At number 1, the most overrated city in California, Beverly Hills. And honestly, I think this is going to be the coldest take of the video. Beverly Hills is a playground for the ultra rich, and honestly, there's not much more to it than that. Rodeo Drive is pretty much everything wrong with America on one street, homeless people rubbing shoulders with millionaires, parking their cars in front of homeless encampments and tents, and for tourists and visitors, there's really no attractions to visit whatsoever. It's a pedestrian nightmare because did you really expect all those Aston Martin drivers to abide by pedestrian rights of way or motor vehicle laws? I didn't think so. Even driving in the suburban streets is a mess, with those infamous 8-way stop sign junctions. There's nothing to do or see in Beverly Hills, really. It's very skippable. I suggest going to Montana Street or Abbot Kinney in Santa Monica and Venice over Rodeo Drive any day. Beverly Hills is easily the most overrated city in California. But let me know what you think down in the comments section below. Did I miss a city? Is there a city on here that you think is properly rated or even underrated? I'd be interested to know your opinions, and sometime in the near future, I'm definitely going to make a video about the most underrated cities in California and then branch out to other states too. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of that. I'll see you in the next video from Town, City, State.